Good morning, good morning, good morning. Just getting everything set up here. Good morning. How are you doing this morning? And thank you for joining me for our morning workplace leadership nugget for the day. Again, we meet, chat. These chats are set up on Tuesday and Thursday morning at 7:30 so that as you are preparing for your day and on your way, possibly in your commute, or just preparing and like resetting your moment for the day, that I can provide some type of tip that can help you in your leadership as you are striving to level up. So I do thank you for your time and stopping by, joining this conversation live and or on the replay. In case you are new to who I am and how it is that I serve in this world of leadership, my name is Mary May, and I help leaders and middle managers just like you break that glass ceiling, shift the narrative with clarity and purpose while you are next leveling your career. So, in today's nugget, I wanted to talk about how is it that that stress is showing up in your leadership? How is it impacting you with your work life harmony balance? And what it means as far as in you leveling up or in you being able to sustain that promotion and being able to move forward. Oftentimes, when we are in work situations, we have some of the information in regards to what is needed for us to level up in our career or get that promotion. And sometimes that may mean like credentials, it might mean um, years of experience, it can mean so many different things. But the us part, the you part, like the interaction of who we are and how we show up in these different situations, we often sometimes can feel like, okay, well, am I positioned correctly for next level in my career? And so in today's nugget, as well as Thursday's nugget, this week, I wanted to kind of talk about like work-life harmony, but then really kind of zoning in on stress, because as I am working and navigating with individuals in leadership and helping them level up, is some things that I'm coming across, and I just want to kind of touch on that because we often compartmentalize things that we experience and things that kind of happen to us, and not really realizing how it could be seen on a perspective of an individual team leader or people who may be considering to work with us and or considering to level us up or guide us in that leveling up, but it's some things that's in the way. And my goal is, as a leadership strategist, to be able to help you to recognize those things, and so that they are no longer blocking you from how it is that you show up, how it is that you would want to have your promotion, be able to live the life that you want with that work life harmony balance, that kind of sustains you, but then that you're not dreading going to work on a day to day basis. So, oftentimes, you will, um, provided that you continue to grow with me in this community, oftentimes you will find that I may utilize the hashtag daily divorce of self. And so sometimes people are like, what exactly does that mean? What does it look like? In our daily setup or how we plan and proceed throughout our day, we generally we generally have some type of conflict, some type of decision, some type of moment where we are carrying a legacy from previous situations, from the previous day, from a previous interaction with maybe very similar to what we're experiencing at that moment. However, we don't realize the residue that we also carry in those situations that sometimes create where we need to kind of sit with ourselves and take a reality check and sit with ourselves and divorce the sabotaging or things that we're doing that's not serving us well. So that is essentially what the daily divorce of self means. But there are some other ways in which you'll see and you're continuing to guide and connect with me through these nuggets, through other interactions that I utilize that daily divorce of self, because sometimes it is our own inner thoughts coming out not the way that we desire, but then sometimes it could be stuff that's self-imposed on us as well. And so I often interchange and use that. So, as the quote says on my advertisement, before making a decision, enjoy your cup of coffee. And some people don't drink coffee, so bring your tea, bring your vice, whatever, to get some transformation nuggets. Like eat every Tuesday and Thursday morning. It'll be a live video. If I'm in travel, it'll be some kind of content provided to you so that we can get these nuggets so that we can level up. So let me grab my sip of coffee before I dive in, because I do have a couple things here that I want to share and then get out your way so that you can have a great and successful day. So a lot of times in our work relationships, there is, things that we do to kind of get along. We do stuff to kind of manifest and build our relationships with team players, but then also not only with the team players, we also do it with leadership, trying to position ourselves so that we can, again, kind of secure our voice in our leadership, but then also our footprint. We're all constantly trying to balance that. But while balancing that, especially sometimes as women, the office politics can become very, very challenging. And because they become challenging, it becomes an interpersonal conflict, an interpersonal challenge that generally can level us up, but it also can take us and put us to the side in being capable, available, or, sustainable for the relationship that we are trying to secure in leveling up our career. So when you think about those interpersonal relationships in your office politics, and as far as work-life harmony, how are you showing up? And so in looking at, today's nugget that we're talking about, how does stress impact you as a leader and you in leadership? It can impact you in a variety of different ways. But let's first look at what is stress. So, a lot of times people say, I'm stressed out, work is heavy, don't really know, like, what it is that like I just feel, probably handcuffed or some, type of limitation of some sort. And stress is an indicator. A stress is an indicator either that you are being challenged in the right way, or that you are you are pushing yourself forward. But then stress can also be a space where, are you doubting your capability to be able to level up on this project or level up in this space such that you can excel? Stress can be a distraction. It could be something that is creating the distraction in regards to, say, something's happening at work, people want to sit around a water cooler, coffee shop, whatever, and talk about stuff that's not really fueling us and not really building us up for what it is that we need to do. I'm not suggesting that you not have interpersonal relationships, but I am suggesting that you always be able to regulate your reaction of sitting in that moment and being able to regulate what is information that you should be a part of and what is information that you should not be a part of. Because when you're in the space of trying to level up and kind of sustain your footprint on the team, elevate, get that promotion, the things that you entertain can end up creating stress that's not necessarily assigned to you, but you carry it in your day to day. And so, whatever conflict that you have in being able to position yourself causes the dysfunction or the dysregulation, the inability to kind of like just show up and recognizing that stress is happening. Your decisions are usually altered because you may lean towards information that you received or are aware of from the office politics, be it that somebody's talking about what you're wearing, they're talking about maybe your workout situation, maybe may even be talking about health things or stuff that they want to joke about. Definitely have some comedy at work, but have comedy and conversations with respect, that you're not putting someone one down or putting them down in any way, or you're not internalizing things to be a one down. And so in that decision making, being able to regulate that you are not opening yourselves up for stress to kind of manifest in how it is that you are interacting in your role as a leader and then your role in the workplace, because that stuff transfers, and it transfers into your personal relationships and into your interpersonal, your lifestyle on at home. Because if you feel trapped and have limited accessibility to kind of talk through what you identify as stress, and usually when we say stress, we immediately default to something negative. And stress is not always a negative. It's something that interrupts us, it's something that impacts us, but it's not always a negative. It could really be a post-it note or a red flag to say we need to do something different. So if you're not making that shift or not creating that awareness, then you may not recognize how this stress in the workplace is impacting you one way or another. And so the complacency that you may exist, that may, develop, also creates resentment that you may have worked very, very hard to get to a certain situation. And so if that complacency is, showing up as stress, if it is impacting your productivity on the team, your productivity in the workplace, then it's best to be mindful of what stress, like, had what the role, how you label it, how you understand stress in its action, like in its action, in its behavior, in its way that you have connected to it to give it a job. Like you basically have given it a job of sustainability. But then also, are you choosing complacency, or are you choosing to be able to elevate and level up? Let me take a sip of this coffee. And so, in recognizing the levels of complacency, you want to be sure that if you have become complacent, are you really serving in your leadership role in the best way possible? Because in recognizing how complacency drives you and motivates you, you have chosen to limit your opportunities to be able to move forward, or to play the victim role versus making a shift and identifying how it is that you can show up in the workplace a little differently, that you can be more effective. And oftentimes, the stress that we don't see, or that we don't acknowledge, or that we don't pay attention to, is how our body is giving us that red flag. And your body, your conversations, if you're talking about a situation of accountability, a situation where there was a joke or a comment or a conversation that didn't make you feel comfortable or didn't feel like it was elevating you, then you may be consuming what energy in the office is distracting you and not allowing you to work in your purpose more than you are working on the productivity of excelling in the best way possible. And so that may show up as chest pain, dehydration, a headache, restlessness, and sleep, or like no sleep at all, as well as in your appetite. So it's like when you take a step back and when you look at how the impact or your influence of this relationship is happening, it's best serving you when you can take that reset, when you can take a step back and look at what are these blind spots? How can I make a shift in my perspective so that when I do position myself for leveling up and getting that promotion that I'm looking for, that these things don't stop me. They won't come up on the scroll of am I capable or am I not. I won't have to be distracted or have any self-doubt that how I have performed up until this point has been impacted by how I have interacted and entertained stress in the workplace. And so like those office politics and sometimes how we develop as a team and how we work together can create like some emotional entanglement. And so you're like, emotional entanglement, what does that actually mean? So emotional entanglement can really mirror what in the behavioral health world would call like countertransference. So have you had a situation that you were in a meeting and say your idea that you presented to the meeting was not quite received the way that you presented it and packaged it. However, when your counterpart said the same exact idea, same exact strategy, it was received and they're taken off to the races, but it created a way of creating silence for you. And also when you begin to sit back and think about how your idea has been taken and moved forward, you begin to say, okay, so my emotional entanglement around that creates a space where I am now upset. I'm not trusting of my work situation. I don't trust the people who I work around, and I don't feel that my voice is as important as it could be. So that shift and that emotional entanglement creates the stress part of it because now you are carrying energy, you're carrying that experience with you through every single thing and possibly making side comments that may be like sarcastic or whatever. If you are that person, then there's an emotional entanglement in regards to how you feel the decisions have been made about the project being accepted by being packaged by another team member versus you. So in the you part of processing, how is it that that person stated the same thing? What was the difference? What were the shifts? Where are my blind spots? Can create some resentment, but it also can create some challenges where you begin to say, well, why do I continue to promote or share my ideas? That's not the case at all. The thing is, what are you doing in those other relationships and those other interactions? How do you react to that? Because that can really be a test in essence. Yes, it's a dismissal, but it's also a test to see how committed are you to next leveling up. And then also, have you become complacent in your role that has been assigned to you, or have you always positioned yourself to say, okay, how can I do better? What is it that I can communicate differently? Maybe how you articulated it wasn't in an understandable way for that individual. So then the next time the opportunity arises, you want to ensure that you're not functioning from a space of emotional entanglement and say, I'm going to keep that idea to myself anyway because nobody's going to listen. Or you figure out how to position yourself so that you can state it in a better and more effective way. And because the opposite of that could be assuming that the other person really knew that it impacted you in that particular way and it kind of disrupted your interaction with them. So if there are blind spots that you're constantly or feeling like you're oftentimes in these situations where your voice is not mattering, or a project that you present is not being received, or you're not, you feel like you're being looked over for the promotion or the pay increase, or not able to like really see how you can show up more effectively, could come with some accountability, but then it also could come with recognizing what your blind spots are. And sometimes we don't know what those blind spots are because we have constantly been doing what we've been doing for so long in our career that we don't realize how it's communicating out to other people. And the thing is that we benefit from taking a perspective of shifting that interaction such that it can become helpful to us, and we can kind of navigate what that looks like. And if if that is you, then I would encourage you to kind of grab some time on your calendar, DM me, or go to my website at workwithmarymay.com and look at the case study of the concerns that I work with in helping leaders and middle managers kind of next level up their career. But engage in that free strategy session. If nothing else can occur from that, it can help you see some of these emotional entanglement blind spots that's keeping you handcuffed and not allowing you to kind of level up in how it is you choose to show up in your work situation. So it's like, are you ruminating? Are you talking about things more than you're actually implementing action and actually implementing like how it is that you shift? If you want better for yourself, it causes, again, that hashtag daily divorce of self, that you are wedded to some legacy of you, some version of you in your past life. You may feel like you have the certificates, the experience, the credentials, but you're not leveling up. So if you are at a standstill, the blinders of the emotional entanglement in this essence of how stress is driving your complacency in a certain way causes you to need to figure out, okay, how can I show up every day and my skills transfer and communicate to other individuals with a level of integrity, with a level of commitment, and that the boundaries that I need to put in place does not create stress where I feel like I'm talking about having a meeting about the meeting, or I need to, talk about how at work this situation happened and I'm calling multiple friends and going through the whole role rehearsal over and over again. So if you are calling friends, then that's stressing the relationship. Now, yes, as friends, you should be able to call and have colleagues that you can talk to. But if you're constantly having the same conversation over and over again, I would encourage you to try to like say, okay, what are the blind spots? Why is this the consistency in how it is that my leadership is impacted at work, but then it's also influencing a strong impact in your work life harmony because the balance has been interrupted and the stress is consuming your everyday situation. So when you think about how you want to show up, you want to be able to say, okay, the workday is over and the workday is over. If you're playing mental gymnastics in your mind around what happened in the meeting or what didn't happen in the meeting or what was said, what deadline you didn't do, it's creating that doubt of your capability. It's creating that distraction of time that you could be utilizing in your mental wherewithal of how we can show up effectively, how we can lead and just like kick down that door and just be successful in our space. If you are sitting in the space and trying to still figure out the mental gymnastics and the emotional entanglement from a previous conversation, you're stuck, and you're stuck in like the previous conversation, the previous interaction, and holding anything forward thinking accountable when you may not have had the strength or the resiliency or the skill set to kind of do that moving forward. So if this sounds like you, and in your day-to-day work situations. Like I just want to remind you, like I work with leaders and middle managers kind of next level in their career, but being able to kind of break that glass ceiling, because that glass ceiling could sometimes be self-imposed versus being something that is the narrative of what is the opportunities for you. So being able to shift the narrative with clarity and purpose, while being able to see how you can live the life that you want, be on your own terms, but then also get that pay increase and secure the level of life that you want to experience across all aspects of life. Because if there's stress at work, the work life harmony impacts, because then you're not able to show up in the personal interactions and with your family, with your loved ones in any particular way, because whatever has occurred in the exchange at work is now carrying over to your health, to your mind, your body, and your spirit, but then also how it is that you communicate out, and then therefore not sleeping, not being able to, get that peace that you need to separate from one day from the next, and being able to organize, strategizing, moving forward. So that was a lot. I know I kind of like tried to keep it through and share, but your awareness is extremely important. And so your awareness is important because you may not be aware of how stress, we dismiss stress. We sometimes put on a cape and say, okay, yep, I'm stressed, but I want to keep moving through it. We sometimes like dismiss how we're feeling or how the fatigue is impacting our day to day, or limiting our interest to do anything pleasurable outside of the work situation. So if all of these things have owns you and created to be the boss of you, let's change the job description of stress in our life. Let's change how it is that we may be complacent in our role, and figure out how it is that we can next level up. How can we, and when I say next level up can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. So if you are in leadership and your voice is is valuable, which it is. Everything, every opinion, every objective that you have has value. Let's take a look at what some of those blind spots could be, and how it is that we can eliminate the countertransference, the emotional entanglement, making sure that what it is that you offer is always helpful and not hurtful, and that the stress that is in your life, we kind of address it, in a sense of addressing it so that it doesn't block you and limit your ability to be successful on that other side. So if any of these things kind of resonate with you, kind of, as you go through your day and you think about, okay, I am stressed. I am experiencing dehydration, headaches, restless in sleep. My friends, I feel like I'm pouring into them, every single situation, every single day, that they might as well be at work with me. Or you have a crew at work that is in this self-doubt type narrative that continually distract your productivity, and you don't know how to kind of break away from that, still being friendly, but break away from that so that you can be able to be set aside or set apart, um so that again you can get the positioning that you would like in that organization, or to prepare for shifting to another organization. However it is, if any of that stands out to you, DM me, reach out to me. Let's have a free breakthrough strategy session, and we can determine, if you find that my support is helpful to you, we can definitely talk about what that would look like moving forward, with that side by side accountability, that awareness, removing those blind spots and going forward. But definitely just want to ensure that you have the resources and the toolkit that is going to best serve you. And so, in looking at that, I am going to get out of your way, because my goal for these nuggets is to be about 15 minutes to 30 minutes in your morning as you prepare for your day. But the most important part is that I want you to enjoy your day successfully. I want you to lead successfully. And I want you to be able to break that glass ceiling unapologetically and gain the role and success that you deserve and desire. So have a great day. I look forward to seeing you throughout the week, but definitely Thursday morning with our second part of how stress shows up in your leadership on a day to day basis. So, in the meanwhile, again, travel safely, interact well, limit your emotional entanglements, and I look forward to seeing you on the other side. You take care and have a wonderful day.